Rachel Reeves and the Labour government have just confirmed that the tax-free lump sum that can be drawn from a pension at retirement age will remain untouched. 25% available tax-free. Many of you would agree that's great news. But don't be fooled. The tax-free lump sum needs a little more thought. Most people approaching retirement think the same thing. Grab my 25% tax-free lump sum, enjoy it, and fund the gap until my state pension arrives. Simple, obvious, wrong. Here's what actually happens. You take your £50,000, £60,000, maybe more in one go. It feels brilliant. But within a few years, that cash is gone. And what you didn't realize, you've just locked yourself out of a strategy that would have let you take the exact same amount of money, live the exact same lifestyle, and still have £40,000 or £50,000 in tax-free cash sitting untouched for later. This isn't a loophole. It's not hidden. But it's being missed by thousands of early retirees every year, and it's costing them serious money and flexibility. In this video, I'm breaking down the £50,000 slip-up and showing you the strategy that keeps you ahead. Before we dive into the detail, go ahead and gently tap that subscribe button. The UK retirement landscape changes fast. From pensions and tax policy to property market news, Retirement Brief UK tracks and summarises the news impacting your future. You've worked for decades. Your pension pot is sitting there. You're planning to retire at 62, 63, maybe 64. You know the state pension doesn't kick in until 67. And you know that from day one, you can take 25% completely tax-free. So the logic sounds clean. Take that 25% up front. Live on it for the first few years. Top up with savings if needed. Then at 67, the state pension arrives and everything changes. Workplace pension advisors reinforce this thinking too. When they walk you through your options, they often lead with the lump sum. Why? Because it's straightforward, it's allowed. And they can explain it in 2 minutes without getting complicated. But here's the thing nobody mentions. There's a massive difference between what's allowed and what's actually optimal for your situation. Taking your full 25% lump sum up front does solve an immediate problem. You need income before your state pension arrives. Fair enough. But it creates 3 new problems most people don't see coming until it's too late. First, once it's spent, it's gone. You can't get it back. That flexibility is permanently lost. Second, you've forced all your remaining pension withdrawals into the taxable tier, and there's no strategy left to control how much tax you pay. Third, if anything changes in your life, your health, your spending, your priorities, you've already made the biggest withdrawal decision of your entire retirement. You're stuck with it. Let me walk you through an actual scenario so you can see exactly where this breaks down. Meet James. He's 62, born in 1963, so his state pension doesn't arrive until 67. That's 5 years away. He's got a defined contribution pension worth £250,000. He's also got £30,000 in savings. He wants to retire now and needs to spend £20,000 a year. He doesn't have other income sources, he just needs the 5-year bridge. This is genuinely common. And James faces a choice. He just doesn't realise it yet. Option 1, the traditional lump sum approach. James rings his pension provider and says, "I want my 25% tax-free." That's £62,500. Boom! It arrives in his account. He feels comfortable. He can see the money. Here's what happens next. Year 1 through year 3, he lives on his pension lump sum, £20,000 a year. After 3 years, he's got £2,500 left. Year 4, he tops up from his savings. By year 5, when his state pension kicks in, his savings are down to £12,500. His pension pot, it's got £187,500 left in it. But here's the kicker. Every single penny he withdraws from that £187,500 is now fully taxable. He's got 0 tax-free cash left. Any future planning based around tax-free cash? It's off the table. And let's say the stock market cooperates. His pension grows a bit, but he'll never get another penny tax-free from that growth. That upside belongs to you only if you haven't already grabbed your full 25%. Option 2. The smarter UFPLS strategy. This is where it gets interesting. Instead of taking one big lump sum, James takes smaller UFPLS withdrawals each year. Here's how it works. UFPLS stands for Uncrystallized Funds Pension Lump Sum. Each time he takes a withdrawal, 25% is tax-free and 75% is taxable. But, and this is crucial, that taxable 75% falls within his personal allowance. For the 2025/26 tax year, James has a personal allowance of £12,570. That's the amount of income he can receive completely tax-free before paying a single penny of income tax. Let's do the numbers. James takes a UFPLS withdrawal of £13,333. Here's what he gets. £3,333 is tax-free. The remaining £10,000 sits within his personal allowance, so he pays zero tax. Net result? He receives the full £13,333. He tops this up with £6,667 from his savings. Total income for the year, £20,000. Tax paid, nothing. He repeats this every year, year 1 through year 5. By the time his state pension arrives at 67, his pension pot is sitting at £182,960. His savings are at £17,400. But here's the crucial bit. He's still got £45,000 of unused tax-free cash available. Same lifestyle, same money coming in, same 5-year bridge. But £32,500 more in flexibility for the future. And there's a bonus. If the pension fund grows, say it recovers to £200,000, that 25% tax-free allowance grows with it. It doesn't disappear. It compounds. With option 1, that door closes permanently once you've taken your 25%. I want to pause here because the tax part matters, and I want to be absolutely clear about how it works. When James takes a UFPLS of £13,333, the 75% that's taxable, that's £10,000, gets added to his other income for that tax year. He's got no other income, so it sits within his personal allowance of £12,570, therefore no tax at all. Now, this only works because James isn't yet receiving his state pension. Once he hits 67 and his state pension kicks in, his personal allowance gets eaten up by state pension income first. At that point, the strategy changes. You'd need to think about different withdrawal amounts, but for those years between early retirement and state pension, this is where the trick lives. The other thing to mention, when you first take a UFPLS, HMRC often applies an emergency tax code. That means they might overtax you initially, but that tax is reclaimed. It's temporary. You fill out the right form and you get it back. So don't panic if you see a bigger tax deduction than you expected on the first payment. Also worth noting, taking a UFPLS triggers something called the Money Purchase Annual Allowance. That means if you've got income from work or you're planning to contribute to your pension, your annual contribution limit drops to £10,000 instead of the usual £60,000. That's only relevant if you're still earning. For most early retirees, it's not an issue, but it's worth knowing about up front. Beyond the tax maths, here's why this matters in actual real life. With option 1, taking the lump sum up front, you're locked in. The money's out. You've made your call. If you suddenly need more income in year 3 because you want to travel, or help out a family member, or just fancy a different lifestyle, you've got limited options. And you can't reverse the fact that you've already blown your tax-free opportunity. With option 2, phased withdrawals, you keep control. You can adjust the amount you withdraw each year. Some years you might take more, some years less. You can respond to what's actually happening in your life, not what you guessed 5 years earlier. There's also an investment angle. When you take the whole lump sum immediately, that money is out of the pension pot. It stops growing. With phased withdrawals, your money stays invested longer. If markets recover, and historically they do, your pension pot can grow. And with it, your tax-free allowance grows too. This is particularly valuable if you're young for retirement. If you're retiring at 62 and you've got 25 or 30 years ahead of you, every bit of growth counts. Before I wrap up, let me be clear on what I'm not saying here. This isn't about being tax clever or finding loopholes. UFPLS has been available since April 2015. The Inland Revenue knows about it. It's fully legal. It's boring, standard pension admin stuff. This also isn't about the money being hidden or magical. You're taking the same total amount of money out over 5 years instead of immediately. That's the whole strategy. There's no trick. And this absolutely isn't about avoiding tax. You'll still pay tax when it's due, but you'll pay less of it because you're managing the timing better and using your allowances more intelligently. What this is actually about is the difference between generic advice and tailored strategy. A pension provider can tell you what's allowed. They can say, you can take 25% tax-free. That's accurate. But they often don't go the next step and ask, given your actual situation, your savings, your other income, your timeline to state pension, what actually makes sense for you? That second question is where real financial planning happens. Let's be specific about who needs to pay attention to this. If you're retiring before your state pension and you need to bridge that gap with pension withdrawals, this applies to you. If you've got a defined contribution pension, most personal pensions, SIPs, money purchase schemes, this applies to you. If you've automatically grabbed your full 25% lump sum and spent it already, you can't undo it. Once you've taken it, the tax consequences are locked in. But if you're still planning ahead, this changes your entire approach. If you're someone with multiple pensions, the strategy gets even more interesting because you can mix and match across different schemes and compound these benefits. Here's what I want you to do. First, if you're within a year or two of retiring, have a conversation with your pension provider or a financial advisor. Specifically ask them, what would phased UFPLS withdrawals look like in my situation? Get them to model option 1 and option 2 side by side. See the difference in writing. Second, don't rush to take your lump sum just because you can. The fact that you're allowed to take it all at once doesn't mean that's the best timing for your circumstances. Third, be realistic about your spending. James knew he needed £20,000 a year. You need to know that number too. If your number is wrong, none of this works. But if you've thought it through, you've got a real opportunity here. And finally, remember this isn't about being greedy or clever. It's about not leaving money on the table. Most people leave about £30,000 to £50,000 on the table by not thinking through their withdrawal strategy properly. You've now seen the difference. Don't be one of them. The biggest retirement mistakes aren't usually dramatic. They're quiet. They're the decisions you make in year 1 that echo for the next 30 years. This one's avoidable. So tell me, are you planning retirement and already looking at phased withdrawals? Have you already taken your full lump sum and are regretting it? Did you need to take the full amount to cover a specific life event? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Retirement Brief UK for more essential updates on the UK retirement landscape. We cover everything from changes to the property market, summarising news on legislation changes and market trends to practical advice for homeowners and investors. Ring the notification bell so you never miss an update that could affect your retirement planning decisions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.